down.
You know, I travel each week for work. So last
Hello?
week I was wearing my mask because people are on the plane, they're coughing, sneezing, they're not
Debbie,
covering their
Elsie, and
mouths.
Gan,
It's disgusting.
we are starting the meeting.
Well,
I've been wearing masks on airline flights. I took a clue from
Debbie, Gan, and Elsie, we are starting the meeting.
Okay, thank you for letting us know. We'll shut up.
Okay. I'm waiting for you to get to your seat there.
what?
I said, when you get to your seat, we're going to start the meeting. Well, sit. Yeah, Debbie's not here. She's on the screen. So sit here.
I'm not going to take this.
Okay.
Like that. I don't look like it. I've been picked up.
Hello, everybody.
I knew I had love.
Okay. Okay. It's 9:31. And this is the regular meeting of the Board of Directors of the Golden Rain Foundation of Laguna Woods, a California nonprofit mutual benefit corporation. Excuse me. Laguna Woods Boardroom. I now call this meeting to order. And we do have a quorum, and thank you for everybody being here. So the next item would be the Pledge of Allegiance by Director Skillman.
Please join me with pride in pledging our allegiance to the flag of our country. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So the next item, we acknowledge the media. And the next item would be the approval of the agenda. Are there any changes, corrections? So I hear none. Are there any objections? So if there are no objections, the agenda is approved. The next item would be the approval of the minutes of September 5th, 2023, GRF Board Regular Open Meeting. Are there any changes? Are there any objections? So if there's no objections, the meeting minutes for September 5th is approved. The next would be the September meetings of September 21st, 2023, GRF Board Agenda Prep Meeting. Are there any changes? Are there any objections? So if there's no objections, the minutes for September 21st, 2023, GRF Board Agenda Prep Meeting is approved. So the next item is the report of the chair. And the first thing that I want to remind everybody is that we have 8 candidates that have applied for a GRF position to fill 3. And our Meet the Candidates will be October 16th. And we're going to do it a little bit different. We will have 3 people from GRF that will be asking the questions. And we will be asking, some of the questions would be based on the trust, our code of ethics, and our bylaws. So the other thing that I really want to talk about is GRF doesn't talk about the trust enough. Not everybody understands the responsibility of the trust. And so I want to urge you all, to read the trust. And I also want to urge you that a great video presentation is on the GRF website under documents, and it says Director Training, and it talks all about the trust. So why I think that this is so important to bring out is that there are so many people that do not understand that GRF has sole discretion as far as what happens to the amenities. Sole discretion. And so, because I keep hearing these rumors about, gee, we want to get rid of this asset, we want to get rid of that asset, and all this sort of thing, you know, by people that are not on the GRF board, and they really don't know the trust. So I urge you, you know, to learn about the trust, know what GRF is responsible for, because let me tell you, it's a big responsibility to keep the enjoyment of those residents, 18,000 residents, so that they can enjoy the rest of their life. So that's the end of my speech on that. Okay, so the next item would be the CEO report.
Thank you, President Carpenter, honorable members. This morning I want to touch on two items, and that is how can residents stay in touch with what's happening in the village, and two, how residents can be sure they receive the information they want to receive. On the screen before you are the 5 different platforms available to residents, and I'll touch on these very briefly in my presentation. In terms of email and digital platforms, there is What's Up in the Village. This is sent every Friday to nearly 17,000 recipients. It covers news and events, amenities and activities, reminders and information, village television movies, and all upcoming meetings. Residents may subscribe on the village website. Visit lagunawoodsvillage.com. Click Contact Us in the upper right-hand corner, and scroll to the bottom and complete all fields and request subscription to village communications and alerts. Residents may also subscribe via email request by emailing info@lagunawoodsvillage.com and request to enroll in village communication emails and alerts, including What's Up in the Village weekly e-blasts. Email info@lagunawoodsvillage to request emails from GRF, as well as your Housing Mutual United and Third. You can include your name, manor, number, and email address. The email on file with resident services does not subscribe you to What's Up in the Village. You must request the subscription as I just outlined. Residents may also check the latest news on our website. Visit lagunawoodsvillage.com, news home, to see that information. There is also real-time information updates on our Facebook page. And Code Red emergency notifications is another key thing you may want to subscribe to. This is the way to receive voice, text, and email messages in the event of an emergency. To enroll, visit lagunawoodsvillage.com and click on Code Red, the icon in the top left corner. Complete all Code Red form fields. Alternately, residents may complete a hard copy form that's available at the concierge desk here in the community center lobby, or complete and return the form that's included in the April and November mandatory member mailings. In terms of print communication, there is the Village Breeze magazine that you receive on a bi-monthly basis. This is paid for through a partnership with Memorial Care. And again, it's delivered bi-monthly to every manor via USPS Every Door Direct Mail program. It features interest to 55-plus adults, columns with news and updates from VMS departments, resident-driven content and community-connected, and helpful information, maps, phone numbers, email addresses, and so on. The Village Breeze is also available throughout the community at the fitness centers, the clubhouse offices, the community center, the golf pro shop, and so on. Residents may also watch board and committee meetings and view meeting calendars, agenda, reports, and minutes. Meeting calendar and schedules are available on TeamUp, and this is available at lagunawoodsvillage.com calendars. To watch live past open board meetings, follow the path to Granicus. And this is available under the Residents tab and board meeting videos as shown on the screen before you. Visit LagunaWoodsVillage.com meetings. Again, to watch board meetings and committee meetings via Granicus. This includes the live board and committee meetings. And then past open board meetings are filed under the archived events. Residents may also watch many open board and committee meetings via Zoom. To do this, look for the Zoom meeting link in the open forum section of the respective board or committee agenda posted on the website. Click the link a few minutes prior to the meeting to launch Zoom. Select Zoom, Open Meetings, and launch the meeting when prompted. There is no password or registration required. Residents may also watch board meetings on TV6. Monthly open board meetings are aired live and on their respective Tuesday at 9:30. All board meetings are replayed the following Thursday at 1:30 p.m. and the following week on Wednesday at 6 p.m. Meeting recordings are available on the Village YouTube channel, and that address is shown on the screen, or you can click the red arrow at the top of the Village webpage as shown on the screen before you. To find recreation activities and classes, please go to the Village homepage and select Amenities and Activity Calendar. Village Television TV6 offers an array of programming, including This Day and movies. Other Village Television TV6 programming includes Let's Talk Tech with Debbie Dotson, again This Day, and Discovering Laguna Woods Village. A common question is, how do I sign up for the various lists? This includes marketing and communication email lists, association membership list, and the preferred delivery method. In terms of the marketing and communication email lists, you must request a subscription, and residents must opt in, and they can also opt out of the email lists on third-party platforms by clicking unsubscribe at the bottom of any Village email message to stop receiving. However, per FCC regulations, you will then need to resubscribe to Village emails. The association membership list resides with Resident Services. It's for business purposes other than Village marketing and communication emails. The two aren't linked. You can update your membership information by emailing Resident Services at residentservices@vmsinc.org. The association membership list is accessible to the general membership via records request through the CEO General Manager's Office. Civil Code Section 5220 allows members to make their contact information inaccessible to the general membership. Members must notify the association of his or her wishes by filling out the opt-out authorization form, which is included in the April and November mailings, or by logging on to the resident portal. All options are detailed in the opt-out authorization form that is mailed or emailed with the annual mailings. And then there's the new preferred delivery method, Senate Bill 392, which went into effect in January, mandates that an association deliver a document in accordance with the member's preferred delivery method. To update your preference for 2025, you can populate the preferred delivery method form that's included in your April and November 2024 mailings, or you can email your preference to information@vmsinc.org. As a reminder, going paperless can save approximately $7.50 per manner in printing and postage for the fall and spring mailings. So if 12,000 manners went paperless, this would save about $90,000 in 1 year. The preferred mailing method list does not affect the association membership mailing list. Staff recognizes that there are many lists and this can all be very confusing. We're evaluating how members and residents can simplify the process of updating information, enrolling in the various programs, stating a preferred delivery method, and so forth. So please look for more information on that in the future. And that concludes my update. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So are there any questions?
No. No, thank you for that information. I think it's fantastic. One of the things, this is a huge community, and I don't have to tell anybody, and communication is critical. Just recently, for instance, we had an election, and less than 1/3 of the residents voted, of the members were represented. We can't do our jobs, and certainly the mutual can't do their jobs without knowing what it is you are thinking. Not just those that are motivated to vote for other reasons, but those that are motivated to vote for the community, period. So thank you for giving us all those communicating opportunities so that we can be well informed when we vote. Thank you.
Raisman?
Thank you, Siobhan. On slide 10, you talk about the Civil Code 5220 allows members to make contact information inaccessible to general membership, and people can opt in and out of that, correct? By filling up the form.
That is correct.
How often they can do that? Is a yearly basis, is 6-month basis, is daily? Because
The membership list frequency is up to you as the member, so you can change when you want to change.
so is that discretion of the members to opt in or out at any given time?
To
Is
the
that correct?
membership list, correct.
Okay, thank you. I just want to make sure.
Okay, Debbie, and then Martin. Okay. Debbie?
I just want to add to what Reza just said. If you do not want to get communications beyond VMS official things, you need to opt out. You need to complete the form. You should do it at least annually, because, you don't want your information shared with everyone. You should opt out. Thank you.
Thank you. And Martin?
Thank you very much for that report. A couple of questions. Granicus, can you explain Granicus a little bit? Is it like Zoom? Do you need an app? And also, how many people have actually gone paperless?
We have approximately 3,100 people who have gone paperless so far. And then as far as accessing Granicus, we do have that on slide 17, but you simply follow the path by going to residents on the village website and selecting board meeting videos. And from the list that appears, you can select the live meeting that you want to see or the archived board meeting that you want to see.
You don't need an app.
No, it's a village website. Thank you.
Are there any other questions?
I'm a board of directors. In the
Okay.
board of directors meeting going on.
Who's speaking? Oh, Gan? Okay. Gan? Speak
Well,
up.
There are 11 directors. So 11 directors will take care of it.
We can't hear you, Gan. Oh, he's cut off? Okay. All right, so the next item is the open forum. At this time, members only address the Board of Directors regarding items not on the agenda and within the jurisdiction of this Board of Directors. The board reserves the right to limit the total amount of time allotted for the open forum to 30 minutes. A member may speak only once during the forum. Speakers may not give their time to other people. No audio, no video recording by attendees, no rude or threatening comments. Members can attend the meeting by joining the Zoom link, and the number is 981-312-57242, or call 1-669-900-6833, or email meeting@vmsinc.org to have your message read during the open forum. So do we have, how many speakers do we have?
We have 2 in person and 1 email, and we do have a handful for a couple of other items later on in the meeting.
Okay, thank you.
The first speaker is Nancy Carlson.
Good morning, directors. Excuse me, I just came from the swimming pool, so I have wet hair. I'm in my most informal state. I attended yesterday the GRF Finance Committee meeting relative to the raising of the club meeting room fees. I'm neither disputing or commenting on that specifically. It's a necessity, and I understand that. And they're going to be setting up a schedule where they do it and evaluate it on a more frequent basis. I just want to go on record that I made a suggestion. I've served as board president and other things, and we looked at not only reviewing and evaluating, but also identifying for corporations and shareholders opportunities as well. And one of the items that I raised, which they seemed to think was a good idea, and want to share with the board and Toto and VMS, is the opportunity to reduce the cost of our meeting room costs to clubs and memberships by virtue of doing a pretty common practice in the United States now, which is offering corporate sponsorship. That corporate sponsorship can be in the form of something as small as a classroom in the Emeritus Institute. Picture the sewing room. For example, corporate sponsorship, it could be the Singer Sewing Center. A plaque outside the door. We have, 17,000 residents here? We are a target audience for companies who want to promote their businesses and also look for opportunities. I know this because I've been a corporation president and a CEO for many years and in consumer products and marketing. So I think this is a logical and really a good idea for us to create revenue that falls within our corporate charters in the sense that we are getting sponsors to pay for these classrooms, and that allows us to keep our clubs going, more clubs going, and appeal. And remember, our audience in the village is just not those 17,000 people. We have the the Performing Arts Center, and I used the hypothetical yesterday as a crude example, and this almost was a top-of-mind suggestion. I said, you could, for example, go to a big corporate sponsor, and it could be called the Bank of America Performing Arts Center in Laguna Woods. That would have a lot of appeal. That's just a crude example for people who don't understand corporate sponsorship, if you get the drift of my opportunity recommendation. You need to put a task force together. If you're confused on how to do it, I'm now a United Director. Feel free to contact me. But I do want to just go on the record that this is an idea and that this is something that would be, I think, productive and constructive. Thank you.
Next speaker is Allison Bach.
Good morning. The whole community, I think, would benefit from considering to hire an outside consulting firm of engineers to take a look at all of the facilities in the village that we all share and use. That could be a physical engineer and various specialized skills within a consulting company to take a look at the condition of our existing facilities, establish baseline conditions analysis for them, take a look at the history of maintenance that's been done on those facilities so that we have a true and factual picture of condition of our facilities. Right now, that sort of analysis and history is, I think, dispersed throughout different responsibilities in different departments. There is no one department. We don't have a civil engineer. We don't have a PE. We don't have who has just that job, or a specialized community engineer. I think there could be a lot of value in doing that. It would help with planning. It would help with project development. And I think especially with reserve studies to see when likely replacements are coming up. And I think I would recommend that perhaps as you cogitate plans for 2024 and beyond that you consider it. Thank you.
Thank you. And we have one email from Chris Collins. And her email states, this is an update on the work of the foundation on behalf of residents experiencing temporary financial crisis. Planning for the inevitable. Why estate planning? Do you think that estate planning is only for the wealthy? Are you concerned that estate planning is a long and labor-intensive process? Have you avoided estate planning for these reasons? If yes, the Foundation of Laguna Woods Village's second televised podcast on the subject of planning for the inevitable will provide practical guidance. It will focus on estate planning issues confronting older adults. It will be aired on Village Television beginning Saturday, October 7th at 12 noon and continue on Saturdays for the month of October. If you want to view this broadcast on your own schedule, it is also available on the Foundation website, foundationoflagunawoodsvillage.org, under a special tab, Planning for the Inevitable. This website section includes the YouTube links for this broadcast and our earlier one on advanced directives. Tune in and hear Faye Blix, a local elder law attorney. She has been an elder law attorney since 1984 and the founder of the Elder Law section of the Orange County Bar Association. According to Faye, a common misconception is that estate planning is only for the wealthy. During the broadcast, she explains what can go wrong if you do not have an estate plan, what problems can result from probate, and some specific issues that can be involved in estate planning, like underage beneficiaries or caring for a disabled child. Most important, she explains that estate planning is an ongoing process, a continuum that begins while you are alive. She emphasizes that we need to plan for the possibility of incapacity as part of the estate planning and discusses some immediate steps we can take to address that possibility. If you have any questions about this topic or the upcoming broadcast, please contact the Foundation at 949-268-2246 or foundation@comline.com. For more information about the Foundation, please go to their website at foundationoflagunawoodsvillage.org. Please note that donations can always be made using PayPal on the Foundation website. And that is all for open forum.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So would any directors on the board like to respond? Jim, okay.
Yeah, this is in relationship to the reserve analysis and the engineer to study the facilities. A couple of years ago, for the first time ever, this GRF board authorized and initiated a complete reserve study by a competent reserve study engineering firm. That's the basis of our 30-year reserve calculation and continues to be the basis of our reserve calculation. I believe they worked also with our engineers. That's not to say they can't go back and reassess some of that, but we actually did that for the first time. In case you don't know, the housing mutuals are required to have a reserve study. GRF is not. However, we thought it in the best interest of this community, being almost 60 years old, to understand what we have, how old it is, what the needs are, and make sure that we are reserved adequately to be able to move into the future. So it's a good idea to look back into it and see whether or not it's as adequate as we want it to be. But I believe they spent over 6 weeks doing that evaluation and then gave us the outcome. Thank you.
So Jim, in that study, it also was determined the condition of the clubhouses. And that's
Absolutely.
Right.
That's the way. I mean, I'm not an engineer, but
I know.
They actually went back and looked at what materials were there and when it was done, when it was. They just did 6 weeks worth of activity study on that and came up with their analysis and what our continuing cost over a 30-year projection would be.
So, no. All right. So,
Allison, I can talk to you later.
okay, so the only thing that I want to add to what Jim said, if you would like to look at the reserve study, it is in your 2023 Green Book, the results of that reserve study. Okay.
Well, I think I start with Allison. Yeah, I think you thinking step beyond the reserve study. That's why I want to talk, I think. I realize that a PE also can help with the project, outside PE, to do the review of the project, confirm the project, sign off on the project. Some of those that for the major project, we use internal and external support might help with the better performance on the project. I think that's part of that. And I go back to the corporate sponsorship. That's a great idea. We have to look at, what we're talking about. We're talking about putting names of the corporation on the facilities. That's one sponsorship. The other one is if we want to open up a facility for the major corporation to throw, their corporate meeting or things like that. So those are, both of them is a good idea to look at and study and see what happens with that. So I think I have a legitimate ground for looking into it. Thank you.
Okay, so who do we have next? Oh, Egon, I thought you said Yvonne. Okay, Egon, and then Martin and Debbie.
Yeah, this is for Michaela. Would you repeat the time of that broadcast on the estate planning? Because it was buried in the middle and it just kind of
Yes,
passed by
absolutely.
quickly.
It is, let me check here. On Village Television beginning Saturday, October 7th at 12 noon, and it continues on Saturdays for the month of October.
Okay.
Thank you.
And next was Martin and then Debbie.
Hi. I just had a couple comments about the corporate sponsorship, and I don't know about if it's something that would have to go by legal, but I mean, I got to remind us that Laguna Woods Village is a brand. We're a brand, and if we start sponsoring or start to partnering with other brands, I don't know where that could lead to. I mean, we're living in a world of advertisement. Everywhere you go, you see an advertisement, right? I mean, this GRF board is brought to you by Kit Kat or something. I'm just saying that it's we got to look at that, but there's some moxie to it.
Okay, so next Debbie, and then Debbie?
Yeah, two things. One, I want to address Chris Collins' email. Yes, the series that they're offering is outstanding, and it's going to continue through the end of the year. So each month there will be a different show, because I actually am doing a show for them too. So that's one thing. And then I want to address the thing with the corporate sponsorship. I want to remind everybody that we did have a committee that was looking at ways to raise money. This has come up before many times. That committee was disbanded. And one of the things that always happens is people have great ideas, but who's going to actually execute the idea? Who's going to go do the research to find out who's willing to do that? So, that's the problem. We have all these great ideas of raising non-assessment revenue, but then nobody ever comes back with any hard facts, solutions, information. So I think it's important for people to do their homework about what's been done in the past and what the outcomes were before they say that. I mean, it's again, I brought this up 3 years ago about, having the Performing Arts Center be named with an outside sponsor. And my understanding was that it was legally not possible. So again, we all want to find ways to raise money for this community that doesn't come out of our pocketbooks, and I'm all for that. But make sure you understand what's been done, what's been already eliminated, and then if you come with a great idea, come with a path forward with it, because there's no one to do that work except you. Thank you.
Okay, Joan?
I want to remind you that there's something called the Village Community Fund, which is a nonprofit organization. And we have, for one thing that's happened, we have a sponsorship from Memorial Care, and they are sponsoring our Village Breeze, for example. I'd like to speak more with you and going forward, because I think it's possible, and we have not a facility, but we have an entity that might be able to help. So let's speak a little later, or speak after.
So, nobody speaks from the audience, thank you. Sorry, no debates. I just want to make a remark in regards to sponsorship, is before any sponsorship is out there and you're trying to find sponsors for certain things, GRF board has to decide exactly what they will offer those sponsorships, okay? And the question has to be, what are we going to do and what are we going to allow on GRF property? And that is really important. We had a prior media and communications director that was really onto that type of sponsorship. And we do have a sponsored program that is run by Recreation at this point in time. But the most important thing first is, what will GRF allow on as far as types of plaques, names in the buildings, that sort of thing, before we even go look at sponsorship. Because the community basically does not want us to become an advertising mecca every time you turn around and see advertising. But it can be done tastefully. But it has to be approved by GRF first. So thank you. Is there any other remarks? Or did I just say it all? Okay. All right, so let's go on to the next item, which is the consent calendar. All matters listed under the consent calendar are recommended for action by committees and will be enacted by the board by one motion. In the event any item is removed from the consent calendar by members of the board, such items shall be subject to further discussion and action by the board. Okay, so the item recommendation from the Finance Committee would be A, consistent with the statutory obligations, a subcommittee of the board consisting of the treasurer of at least one other board member reviewed and approved preliminary Golden Rain Foundation financials for the month of August 2023. By this vote, ratify that such review be confirmed in this month's board member open session meeting minutes.
I move the consent calendar.
Okay.
I second it.
No objections? So the consent calendar is approved. So the next item is unfinished business. So we'll entertain a motion to approve the revision of the member discipline process. And we have completed the 28-day notification. So Joan, would you please read the resolution?
Thank you. Resolution 90-23-XX, member disciplinary process. Whereas the Board of Directors created a compliance ad hoc committee to work with Compliance Division and Recreation and Special Events Department to review the member disciplinary process and the schedule of monetary penalty. And whereas the Compliance Ad Hoc Committee has recognized the need to update the member disciplinary process to include the schedule of monetary penalties and violations matrix. Now therefore be it resolved on October 3rd, 2023, that the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby approves the updated member disciplinary process as attached to the official minutes of this meeting, and resolved further that the resolution 90-04-72 adopted October 5th, 2004 is hereby superseded and canceled, and resolved further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of this corporation to carry out the purpose of this resolution. I move that we accept this resolution.
I second it.
Is there any discussion? Is there any objection?
We do have member comments.
Okay.
This is 11A.
Number one, I would request Nancy Carlson 3038. I would request that this should be in a red line form so that we can see what was in and what's been changed. Number two, I'm the chair of the State Bar California public oversight. I'm familiar with the rules applying to attorney conduct, rules of due process, California Civil Code that is intertwined with creating those rules. I'm very disappointed in the revision of this. Several months ago, President Carpenter said we need to, based on so many member complaints, we need to address revising and incorporate due process. This does not reflect due process. In fact, it doesn't even identify what the members' rights are. Let me flash forward. Some of the disciplinary rulings have ended up in the civil court. Civil court has admonished the ruling is violating member rights and not following due process. Due process involves evidence. It involves the person receiving the disciplinary hearing, which we tend to write a letter, and it usually has a 1 or 2 sentence definition of the charge. But in a disciplinary hearing, there is a long written statement that is not provided the person before hearing. Second, the person is not provided the evidence against them before hearing, who's going to testify before hearing, and who collected the evidence before hearing. These are fundamental. We shouldn't be creating an internal, as the members like to call it, kangaroo court. That's not my word. That's a reasonable A term we all understand. I'm willing to consult on this or participate in this committee on it, because this really needs severe inclusions and revisions.
Okay. Your time is up. I will comment on this. And Nancy, this is not based on court of law. This is based on Davis Sterling. And we are in accordance to Davis Sterling and their requirements. It is all according to the law. And I think where people really get confused is to think it is similar to a court of law that requires what you are talking about. But in civil code, as far as Davis Sterling, it does not. And believe me, this is according to Davis Sterling. And that needs no further committees or verification that it is not according to law. So thank you. I mean, I know you don't agree, but I would advise you to go look at Davis Sterling. Okay? Thank you. Any other comments?
Yeah, hasn't this been reviewed by our attorney also?
Say again, Jim.
Hasn't this been reviewed by our attorney also?
Previous ones have been, this was just been a minor update.
This was just a minor update, but I mean, the whole idea and purpose, and most of it was reviewed by the attorney prior to this.
What were the revisions?
Okay, we don't have to go through our attorney to verify this one particular for the update. And so are you suggesting at this point that we don't vote on this and that we go to our attorney?
No, I was really saying that the whole disciplinary process has been looked at by the attorney. This minor update didn't require that.
No.
Ma'am?
Yes.
I think the updates are primarily the fees and the attachment 3, which is a matrix. It's not the same, and you can't debate it, I'm sorry.
Okay, we're not debating this issue.
I'm not. I just want to
I'm
refresh
sorry,
your memory.
we're not debating this issue. Please sit down.
But you did say this was going to be about due process. That was your,
We're not
announcement.
debating the issue. Okay, Joan?
Yeah, I had 2 questions on the attachment itself. Attachment 3, the description. Under behavior/disturbance, I assume that the things under behavior disturbance like noise, odors, other, theft, trespassing, and yelling are behavior disturbances, okay? It just needs to be intended to show that. Also, it doesn't say what is going to happen for trespassing, whether it's going to be heard immediately or it's standard process. There's no check. So those are two things I noticed.
And what are you suggesting for a change?
I think they need to be put in place. I would suggest that the disturbances, noise, odors, other, theft, trespassing, be moved over so it's understood that that's not the way it's read is strange. And somehow, I don't know what the committee had in mind for trespassing. Would it be dependent upon the trespass? I don't understand. It's not checked.
President Carpenter Bliselda is here to answer any questions you might have.
Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon, or good morning, Board.
Oh, good.
Okay.
So regarding trespassing, so the board will take action against a member or the guest of a member. So if a trespasser has no tie to the unit or to a unit, the board cannot take action against the trespasser. So we had to leave it blank because that's a gray area for us. If we don't know who it is, we can't take disciplinary action. The board can't take disciplinary action. And the reason the assault, behavior, nuisance, odor, theft, and trespassing is under nuisance is because it falls under your nuisance policy. And so that's how we wanted to categorize it. So if the committee wants us to not have it listed under the policy the violation may fall under, we can always discuss it again, but that's how the committee, I believe, chose to categorize this document, is by the policies that it would fall under.
Okay, you have a question?
No, it's a clarification. This has been out there for 28 days for the members' review and comment. Have they received any member comments or question regarding this matter? Because that's been out there for 28 days, right? Anybody had any?
We haven't received any comments from anybody regarding this particular item.
Well, that's a problem, I guess. You know, this is after 28 days that people had the opportunity to review and comment. There was zero. And now we hear some explanation for something that is after the fact, I guess, because it's been out there. So my point is that if you have issues with it, you know, with these items, please get it ahead of time so the board and the responsible party can look at it and give you the answers in a right manner. Thank you.
So, Bliselda, just so the audience understands, this process that we have, and what I also calls due process, we have a process.
Sure.
And I understand the process thoroughly as what we do in order to abide by the law. So instead of just hearing from me, I'd like you to talk about what the process is and how we came about that process.
So the disciplinary process is driven by the Civil Code, which is the Davis-Sterling Act. And then below that, so the hierarchy is the Davis-Sterling Act, and then it's the association's governing documents, which would be the bylaws and then the CC&Rs, if applicable, or the occupancy agreement. And then it's the rules and regulations that the board adopts. And again, the rules and regulations do get updated as the Civil Code changes. And then after that, it's the disciplinary process where the staff will receive a report of an allegation. Security will investigate it. Staff will investigate it. If there is a violation to the governing documents, then a letter is sent to the member advising them of the allegation. If the member cures the allegation, then it stops there. There's no further disciplinary action taken. If we continue to receive verified reports that the allegation is still ongoing, then the member will receive a follow-up letter advising them that if you fail to comply with the mutual's governing documents, a disciplinary hearing may be held. And then the letters always state to the member what the allegation is and what the rule is that they are allegedly violating. And I use the word allegations because only the board can determine if it was a true violation. Staff is just collecting all the information for the board to make that determination. So that's when we hold the disciplinary hearing, at which time the member is properly noticed per your governing documents. So for GRF, that's a 10-day notice before your hearing, advising them of the allegations and the rules that they may be, again, allegedly violating. And then the member comes into our disciplinary hearing. The board, along with the member present, will get an overview of what the allegations are. The member will have a chance to speak to the board. The board may have questions for the member. And then the member would be excused from the meeting. And then in 15 days, the member will receive a notice regarding the board's determination. And that's the process.
And so there are always questions in regards to these disciplinary hearings, what they call members' rights, being able to understand know who the accuser is, seeing the evidence. So Davis Sterling basically says that's confidential and that we don't. Basilda, speak to that.
So we do advise the member of the allegations, and due to confidentiality, some reporting parties do not want to be known, so we respect their privacy. This is not a court of law, as stated. This is the board of directors addressing a violation to the rules. So it's, again, like you stated, it is not like going to the courthouse. It is a meeting of the member, or the board meeting with a member regarding the rules of the association.
Okay, thank you. Is there any more questions in regards to this?
Elsie has a question on Zoom.
Okay, Elsie?
Hi, thank you. It's not exactly a question, but as I understand it, first of all, the confidentiality business, if your neighbor is driving you crazy, you're certainly not going to report them if your confidentiality is not respected, because things are going to get much worse. And as far as the board's involvement in neighbor to neighbor, I believe that's also a fairly new addition to Davis Sterling, that the boards are obliged to get into the neighbor to neighbor. And the last thing I want to point out and make sure I'm correct, that with Glasilda, is that the vast majority of cases that come before, not all, but the vast majority of cases that come make it to compliance are the result of, I don't know how to say it, non-offensive neighbors reporting, like whether it's clutter, nuisance, noise, smells. Compliance doesn't work in a vacuum and go around smelling and listening. Compliance gets complaints that have filtered through the system, but originate from residents. Is that not true, Blasilda?
So we do receive allegations from other members and staff as well, depending on what the issue is.
But would you say I'm really addressing the ones people complain about the most are the nuisance and clutter, stuff like that?
Correct, yes, those are usually from other members.
That's what I thought. Thank you very much, Blasilda.
Go ahead.
Okay. You next, or Yvonne, or who's?
Oh, Yvonne.
Okay.
I just wanted to remind everybody that this is the policy that affects GRF property, not the mutuals. Okay, nuisance and things like that, that's generally handled by the mutuals.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
And you had something?
Yeah, I guess I'm asking Basilda. GRF didn't have the disciplinary policy before.
No, GRF has always had a disciplinary process.
But this is the same as or similar to what the mutual have.
Yes, and it aligns with Davis Sterling and your,
Okay.
and your governing document.
So whatever any members have issues with this, they have issue with all of it, because this is across the board. This is not just GRF making up something, right?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure that this is United, Third, and Mutual 50 have the same kind of policies, and we pretty much adopted it.
Yes, and multiple attorneys have reviewed the process to make sure that we always align with Davis Sterling, and they always confirm that we do.
Okay, thank you.
So I just want to make one remark. Okay. This particular document, we had a committee, and we reviewed the document that was written in 2004 under PCM. Well, we're no longer PCM, we're VMS. And so basically, all we did was update it, to the current laws. And we also had staff there to help guide us, as to us making sure that this was in accordance to the law. Okay.
Yeah, are there any recent or pending cases that in the state of California that has challenged Davis Sterling regulations that we're governed by? Has there been anything of recent?
Not to my knowledge. That would be a good question for your attorney just to confirm, but not to my knowledge that affects the disciplinary process.
Is to change anything, that's where you have to start, is it would have to go to that route.
I don't recall at this time exactly what document it was, but I've been pretty involved with the compliance for a very, very long time, okay, because basically we wanted to make sure that the residents had an opportunity for a hearing. And GRF, for a long time, some of the board members and, in GRF decided that they didn't want to handle any disciplinary things that happen on GRF property, and so they, the mutuals were handling it. And then we found that there were so many things happening that it was really, really important that GRF have a policy so that GRF could have a hearing, okay, that these people can have a hearing. So the whole purpose is to be fair, to the residents. But there is a law, and like I said, I don't recall which law it is right now, that basically requires GRF to investigate every single complaint there is in regards to nuisance and the violations. Do you recall what law that is? I don't.
Not off the
Okay.
top of my head, I
Okay.
apologize.
All right. There's a lot of laws around
There
here.
is.
Is there any other comments? Okay.
We do have a member comment on Zoom, if that's okay.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Rader, you could speak.
I put my hand down. Thank you.
It's still
Thank you.
there. Okay, thank you. All right. Juanita?
I just wanted to point out, particularly on the matrix where you were concerned about the trespassing, we did not specify, but we work very closely with the Orange County Sheriff. And things like trespassing, we might detain the person who is trespassing, but if they're not a member, we cannot go after them with any of our discipline. However, we do call the sheriff, and the sheriff can take it from there. We can make application to any court of competent jurisdiction for a legal rule if we need to, such as small claims. But primarily, we are looking at things that, on this particular policy, that members are doing. And if it's not a member, then we have to call in other agencies such as the Orange County Sheriff.
Okay, thank you. And is there any more comments? Any more Okay, so if there's no further discussion, I would like to know if there's any objection, to passing this policy. If there are no objections, the policy passes, and I want to thank you so much. And thank you, Priscilla.
Thank you, have a good day.
Okay. Okay, where are we? Hold on.
11B.
Okay. All right, review the UPS entry license agreement. This is where we allow UPS to actually put the pods in. They have the pods during the holidays. And staff has advised us that we do have an agreement from November 3rd, 2021 through January 5th, 2024. And so I just wanted to make sure that the board, was aware that we are allowing them, to put the pods in for this year. And so they're looking for an agreement from us that basically say, yes, we can go ahead and we can place those pods. So that basically is all there is about it. I asked staff to make sure that we put it on the agenda, just to make sure that we're all aware that these pods are going to be here. So, is there any comments?
Yeah, I have to move. I can't find it.
Pardon?
I move that we approve this.
Okay, wait a minute.
Okay.
Siobhan wanted to say something.
You approved a multi-year agreement last year. This is just an informational item this morning.
Okay,
Right.
we don't
Thank
need
you.
to make any motion.
Right. Where I was confused is because the new UPS representative sent us a new agreement. So I was a little confused on that. Okay, so thank you. And so the next item is to entertain a motion to approve a space planning ad hoc advisory committee. So would you like to read the resolution?
Resolution 98-23-XX, Building E Space Planning Ad Hoc Advisory Committee. Whereas the formation of a Building E Space Planning Ad Hoc Advisory Committee is being considered by the Board of Directors pursuant to Article 7, Section 7.1.2 and Section 7.5 of the bylaws of this corporation, and whereas the primary mission of the Building E Space Planning Ad Hoc Advisory Committee is to advise and assist the Golden Rain Foundation, GRF, Board of Directors in fulfilling its responsibilities by 1, reviewing the impacts of a decision to demolish Building E, a 47-year-old building and associated space, resulting in the displacement and temporary relocation of approximately 45 employees, including the security, landscaping, and maintenance and construction departments. 2, evaluate the needs of the displaced departments and develop strategic permanent solutions that meet the needs and mission of the displaced staff departments. 3, make recommendations to the GRF Board of Directors to develop strategic solutions to space utilization as a result of the demolition of Building E, while also evaluating and resolving the impact of recommended solutions on resident amenities and services. 4, recommending to the GRF Board a solution or solutions with a recommendation for adoption. And whereas the duties and responsibilities of the Building E Space Planning Ad Hoc Advisory Committee are the following functions shall be the common activities of the Ad Hoc Advisory Committee in carrying out its responsibilities. These functions should serve as a guide with the understanding that the Ad Hoc Advisory Committee may review, analyze, and evaluate additional space planning solutions, and as may be appropriate in light of charging space utilization requirements. 1, perform the duties imposed upon all advisory committees as established in the GRF bylaws. 2, work diligently with all impacted staff departments, residential amenities, to understand and resolve impacts of the committee's recommendations. 3, review and submit for approval any financial requirements or capital budgets to the GRF Finance Committee and the GRF Board of Directors. And 4, receive reports from staff as needed to evaluate cost estimates, viability, impact, and other considerations concerning the recommendation of any proposed solution. The Building E Space Planning Ad Hoc Advisory Committee shall review and reassess as needed the adequacy of this mission statement and recommend to the board any improvements to the Ad Hoc Advisory Committee that are considered necessary or advisable. Now, therefore, be it resolved October 3rd, 2023, that the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby adopts the mission statement, duties, and responsibilities of the Space Planning Ad Hoc Committee, and resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out the purpose of this resolution. I move we approve this resolution.
Second.
Martin, second.
Okay. Is there any discussion?
Comments?
There is one member comment.
Okay.
Nancy Carlson?
Honorable Directors, it says on page of the resolution, page 2, item, I want to say page 4 of 4 in the resolution is how it's marked in your packet. It says, review and submit for approval any financial requirements or capital budgets to the GRF Finance Committee and the GRF Board of Directors. Director Hopkins can clarify this. I recollect that there is a capital proposed budget already of $7 million for space planning. I believe that's exact. Believe that's how it was written in the.
Can you repeat exactly what you said?
The GRF capital proposed budget already has in it a designation for $7 million for proposed space planning for Building E. And here this resolution says that the committee, the approved committee, will submit for approval of any financial requirements or capital budgets to the GRF Finance Committee. There seems to be some oppositional situations here. Do you follow me?
Yeah.
Why A doesn't match B, A doesn't match A. So we have right now a GRF proposal, and on that capital budget proposal, if my memory serves me accurately, it states this is $7 million for space planning, and here we're signing it, we're asking for a committee to determine what that figure might be. That's it. That's my comment.
We do have one more comment, or a member comment from Georgiana Willis.
Okay.
Yeah, it's sort of bothersome to me that it doesn't mention the building, it just says for space planning. And also, over the months, I've mentioned other ways we could accommodate this if we need to have more space, which could be with temporary buildings in a back area where, they just fit in and fine on property that we have. But to spend $7 million, as it was said, on a building, but now they're just talking about planning, so that sounds like no building. But anyway, $7 million. So for 40 employees, that comes to $175,000 for each employee space. When the shrub in front of my building started to die, they put these puny little things there. But God forbid they should spend any money on us who fund the money, but rather go ahead and spend that kind of money, just burn it on a building that nobody wants other than maybe people on this board. Thank you.
Any other comments?
No, that is it.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Jim's going to comment on this.
Thank you for your comments and feedback. just to explain how capital budgets work, just to explain to those who don't understand it how capital budgets work, there are projects that we don't have an idea of what they will actually cost, but we know we need to get on with it. That's why we call the budget for capital projects allocations, and it is not like a budget, operating budget, which we kind of specifically know every year. Capital budgets fall, we have lots of different types of projects that go on. For instance, we're going to be working on Clubhouse 1 this year. We don't know exactly what it's going to cost, but we have an idea. So we put whatever we believe it's going to cost, an upper limit, and we put that in the budget as an allocation. Same thing is true with space planning. There are so many ideas. I mean, we did have an advisory committee. We had many ideas. None of those ideas seemed to resonate with the committee. And so the only thing we had to judge the approximate maximum cost was the space utilization study, which we know we're not going to adopt, but it was the only actual document that we would use to preserve an allocation of funds. So the $7 million is simply an allocation. It is also used to be able to calculate future reserves. So rather than use a lowball number, we used a highball number, which was documented by the space utilization study. We have no intention of spending all $7 million if we don't have to, or if it's not judged by the advisory committee. So I think it's a mischaracterization of how we do budgets for people to say that because we have it in there as $7 million, it's got to go through a ton of other approval processes before that money even starts to go out the door. So it is your money is not going to be spent in a inappropriate way. But it's I did see there's a lot of correspondence out there which people either don't understand or they're trying to make hay out of it. But this is not the intention of this board to spend $7 million. It's just we want to make sure that if the decision to do something may cost $5 million, we don't know, may cost $3 million, we don't know. Because we haven't even come close to a decision process. That's the reason we had to go from an advisory board to something official where we can get more feedback from everybody. Because there was so many agendas in that room. And I'll tell you, I'll be very frank. There were so many agendas in that room from everybody. And their solution, or I'm not buying anybody else's. So we now have to sit back and evaluate this in the way we probably should have to begin with. So with that.
So they have some other comments here too, but I think I just have to remind everybody that when you put something in the budget and you're approving a budget, that's not an approval to spend the money. The approval to spend the money is only when it goes through the process, through the committees, and is approved by the board. So anyway, Joan, I think you were next.
Yes. This resolution is really the mission statement for the committee. This is the work the committee is to be doing. The committee is needed to refine what is in the proposed budget. We know that the budget is just a placeholder, just an approximation. How do we get to what our real spending is? And that's the job of this committee. So don't mistake the fact that this is just their mission statement with what they can do. I mean, they're going to be able to refine what we need, and it's very urgent to get it done. So it's not the same as them going out and spending $7 million. And it's not, they're not setting the budget in that way. They're refining what we need to be spending and how to spend it.
Okay, Martin and then Debbie.
Nancy, I know how you felt about items 3 and 4. It's like, hey, we've already somewhat been through there. But then I know that, I'm ecstatic that they want to create this ad hoc committee because all those numbers need to be fine-tuned. I mean, there's a lot of generalizations, there's a lot of things in there that have really got to be looked at very closely, and there's a lot of different organizations that are being affected by moving the staff around as such. And so me, myself personally, I'm ecstatic that they're creating this committee to be able to get this thing right. Even though, you think that the funds is all passed, it's like we're ways away. Am I right? Thank you.
Okay, Debbie, you're on.
Okay. That's my background. What I'd like to say is a general observation, and Jim made it a perfect point there about the fact that that's a placeholder. Nobody said we're spending $7 million, but what I see and what I hear from people is that they don't do their homework, and they only hear what they want to hear, and then they spin it to the way they want to spin it. But it concerns me that people who have run for board service don't understand our processes, don't understand our rules, don't understand how money is spent. And I can only encourage them to please do their homework and learn how this village runs, because the statements I've heard today are so inaccurate, it scares me that people who are listening to us on TV right now believe this, because it's not true. A lot of what's being said as far as the comments from people. So please, I can only, as an owner in both mutuals, and going back to what Jim said about voting, the vote's done. There's nothing we can do about it now. It's unfortunate that people don't care enough to vote. So, but I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to be off this board after next month, and so I have no problem saying what I'm saying. But please, people on boards, new members of boards, please learn what this is about. Do your homework and go back and look at things that we've talked about over and over and over in multiple meetings. None of this is brand new. This isn't a big shock. And by the way, GRF HOA money is for GRF assets. So the shrub in front of your unit may or may not be a GRF asset. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. No debates. No debates. No. Okay. Okay.
I just want to make sure that we all understand that this motion is to create an ad hoc advisory committee for the space planning to come back and tell us what we need to do. At that time, when they say what we need to do, we're going to go out there and get the price for it. I said the price for what you're saying we need to do is X, whatever that is. It might be $1, it might be $1 million. I don't know what they're going to come up with. Let them work on that. Let them decide what needs to be done. And then at that time, we decide the cost. And if the cost, nobody wants to support it, then it's going to be defeated. So we are not going to do anything. The $7 million is just on the paper says is allocated. It doesn't mean anything. He's not spending a dime of it if we don't approve it. So this committee is going to decide or make a suggestion what we need to do as a first step for this process. And then we're going to price it at that time. Thank you.
So I want to remind everybody in the audience that GRF does not work alone. Our structure involves the other boards, the mutuals. In this particular committee, when you look under the committee assignments, you will see that there are several representatives from United, several representatives from Third, and representatives for GRF. So we're working as a unit, to be able to solve the problem of the community, to be able to place our employees. This is really important. This is something that we have to do. And the reason that we have to do it is because the building E was in such bad shape. We had to move the employees basically to temporary leasing, offices that are adjacent from here. And if we continue and don't do anything, it's going to cost you and GRF a lot more money to keep leasing where these employees are now being housed. So I just wanted to make that comment. Is there any other, comments in regards to this?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, no, yes?
Yes.
Okay.
I'd like to kind of reiterate what Debbie said. Capital improvement budget is only in GRF. United and Third do not have anything in that. They don't have that kind of a budget. And it comes out of our reserves, which are quite large. We're just putting a place mark in, saying in our reserve funds, we may need to spend in the future. But it is not part of the operating budget. It does not come out of your monthly dues. The only thing that comes out of your monthly dues is your monthly contribution to the reserve fund, which is everything that has to do with the capital, the assets, the buildings, the amenities here in the village. So the other thing I'd like to remind our speakers too is that two of the United members on the planned space committee, space planning committee, are going off your board. Therefore, your board will be putting two more members on, and if you are so inclined to ask your board to put you on that committee, then you would have more idea of what is really going on.
Jim?
Thank you, Anita. You reminded me. Just one thing is that our reserve fund is funded by the per matter per month, which is $17 and projected to continue to be $17 for the next 5 or 10 years. And it's also funded by the trust facilities fee. This particular item, the $7 million, whether it's 4257, has already been reserved for. It's really a 46-year-old building that has been constantly reserved. In fact, came up for renewal 4 years ago at $4.5 million. All right? The decision was not to go and change it at that time. If we were to spend $4 million, $3 million, or even $7 million, it will not impact your per matter per month because it is part of the reserve fund which we save for every month. With that said, we're not anxious to spend $5 or $7 million if we don't need to. So there's no intention to do that. But we do have to resolve our space utilization issue. Thank you.
Thank you. So are there any more comments? So if there's no further discussion, I have to look and see where we're at here. So if there's no further discussion, are there any objections? So I see no objections, so the committee, the ad hoc committee for space planning has been approved. Thank you. So the next one is to update the committee appointments. And there are a lot of changes, and I'm going to let Joan read those changes. So thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Resolution 90-23-XX, GRF Committee Appointments. Resolved October 3rd, 2023, that the following persons are hereby appointed and ratified to serve on the committees of this corporation. I'll read the changes under each committee. Community Activities Committee, Diane Casey has resigned, and Frank Stern is from Mutual 50 is also out. Under the Finance Committee, Elsie Addington has been replaced by Martin Rosa. Debbie Dodson, alternate for GRF, has been replaced with Juanita Skillman. And Advisor Rosemarie De Lorenzo is out. Information Technology Advisory Committee, ITAC. Debbie Dotson from GRF is on leave. She's out. And Diane Casey from United has resigned. Landscape Committee, Diane Casey from United is out. Maintenance and construction is the same. Club Renovation Ad Hoc Committee remains the same. Media and Communications. Juanita Skillman has been added as a GRF alternate. Debbie Dotson, GRF alternate, has been eliminated. Sorry, it's out. Here. Okay. The Website Ad Hoc Committee, Bunny Carpenter has been put on the committee and Debbie Dotson has been removed. Under the Broadband Ad Hoc Committee, Joan Milliman, GRF, has been removed. Debbie Dotson has been removed.
Okay, we're going to leave Debbie Dotson on there for another.
Leave Debbie for another month, okay.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Diane Casey has been removed from United. Peter Sanborn has been added as an alternate from Mutual 50. Sue Stevens from Mutual 50 has been eliminated. New advisor, John Cornell, has been added. And Doug Rook has been added under
No, he's not
advisor.
added. Did I put that on there? No, he's not.
Not, okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Mobility and Vehicles Committee, Juanita Skillman has been added as the alternate for GRF. That's confusing. Okay, sorry. Okay, we got this, and then we got this.
Okay, it says the same thing.
All right. I'm sorry. Frank Stern from Mutual 50 has been eliminated from that mobility committee. Under Laguna Woods, other committees, disaster prep remains the same. Laguna Woods Village traffic hearings. Juanita Skillman has been added as an alternate for GRF. Debbie Dotson has been removed. The Select Audit Task Force remains the same. Compliance Ad Hoc Committee remains the same. Executive Hearings Committee remains the same. Finance Advisory Group remains the same. The Building E Planning Ad Hoc Advisory Committee has been added and includes Bunny Carpenter, GRF, Reza Karimi, GRF, James Hopkins, GRF, and we're adding Yvonne Horton as an alternate for GRF. Lenny Ross, United. Allison Bach, United. Azar Asghari, United. Kush Bahada, 3rd. Andy Ganosio, 3rd. S.K. Park from 3rd. Sue Stevens from Mutual 50. Peter Sanborn from Mutual 50. And Glenn Miller from Mutual 50. Okay, that's it. I hope I've gotten everything. Correspondent remains the same. El Toro Water District is the same. Resolved further that Resolution 90-23-42 adopted September 5th, 2023 is hereby superseded and canceled. And resolved further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution. I move we accept this resolution as amended.
Second.
Is there any discussion, any questions?
I just want to make sure there are several meetings coming up on the committees, and I know that Third, United, and Mutual 50, they need to update their list so the correspondence go to the right people for participating in the committee meeting, because some of these committee meetings really is important for members to be participating. So please let the GRF know as soon as you can who are the new members, so the correspondence go to the right people. Thank you.
Okay, Any other comments?
I have one.
Okay, Elsie.
This is kind of inconsistent, which is fine, it's above my pay grade again, but I don't know why. Okay, I understand taking me off finance, but then why don't you take me off? Why didn't you take me off media and communication as well? Because I'm not going to be around for any more media and communication meetings, and the same thing with traffic. Now, mobility and vehicles, I'm gonna be at that meeting on the 3rd. I'm gonna be able to finish my long assignment as chair. So that I understand, but as far as media and communications go and traffic, I don't know why you took Debbie off and left me on. I mean, it's okay, I just wanted to point that out, because I basically, much as it pains me, between my, and I'm also going to be at the executive hearings committee. So executive hearings and mobility, but the rest of them, I mean, I don't care, but you're going to have to do all this again next month.
Right, and Elsie, there will be a lot of changes for next month. And so I realize, that you won't be available at some of these meetings. And I felt that the alternates could fill in, but since you're still on the board until November.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we just felt that we should, make the changes, when those changes occur. Okay. Because
Okay,
next month, there's going to be a lot more changes.
Yeah, Madam Chair?
Okay, but I'm not going to be here for media next month, right?
Right. We know
I'm going
you're
to be in
on
the South
vacation.
Pacific, suckers.
Yeah.
I'm going to be sipping Coco Locos.
Okay.
Okay, so Jim.
Madam Chair, in the interest of efficiency, would it be better to table the changes that we make today? Because
No,
there's going to be, you can't do that?
No, it's
not
not.
a new ad hoc committee. You got to vote on that.
There's some important committees that we had to make changes. One is to have John on broadband, right away. And also we needed to have Martin, based on the another committee that we put him on. So, and the fact that Diane Casey has already resigned. So I did consider what you were talking about, knowing that there's going to be a lot of committees. But the fact of it is that there needed to be those changes this month too because of the attendance to the committees. In other words, who was going to be attending them. Okay. Juanita.
I'd kind of like to build on what Raisa said, and I will say it again next month when we get the new committee members from the different mutuals. It is very difficult to do a committee meeting which has representatives from both United and Third as well as GRF, when the United particularly, but also the Third members don't show up. There's a couple of times when we have barely made quorum or had not made quorum and had to dispense with the meeting because we don't have our committee members from the mutuals showing up. I'm very proud to say almost always the time, never say all, so it's almost. GRF is there in full strength. But that's not enough. We need to have the mutuals representative. And when you have mutual members who don't bother to come to committee members, to committees, it's very difficult for us to do our work as a committee.
Okay, Debbie?
Yeah, I'm just confused a little bit too. I understand I'll drop off of these when I'm no longer on the board, but like taking me up, so I'm assuming Jim, I'm not gonna be attending any more ITAC meetings, and
So Debbie, you sent me an email and
Yeah.
asked me to take you off of all the alternates as
Right.
serving as an alternate.
yeah, the
Yeah.
alternates, right?
Yes, so I tried to abide by that. If there was any.
That's fine.
You're
Yeah.
still on the ITAC committee.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
still
You're
on
not
the
off
ITAC
that.
committee.
Your attendance is required.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, I was surprised when I saw that, so I just want to clarify that I'm still on broadband and I'm still on ITech, and
Yes.
otherwise I don't care.
Right.
All right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Those
Know
are,
where you live.
those are advisory,
You're not
You
going
are
to get
on
rid of us,
broadband.
yeah.
advisory and ad hoc, so.
Okay, is there any other changes here? I know it's confusing. We have a lot to do here. If there's no further changes or requests, are there any objections? If there are no objections, then the committee appointments has been approved and ratified, so thank you. All right. All right, so we shall go on to item 12, which is new business, and to entertain a motion to approve donation to step ladder for slip casting room. So would you read the resolution, please?
Resolution 90-23-XX. Donation of step ladder for Clubhouse 4 slip casting studio. This agreement be entered into the 5th day of September 2023 is by and between the Golden Rain Foundation, GRF, a California nonprofit mutual benefit corporation, and Laguna Woods Slip Casting Club donor, who offered to donate a step ladder for the Clubhouse 4 slip casting studio. Whereas GRF and donor recognize the importance of community facilities and amenities, and whereas GRF and donor acknowledge the benefit of donations when they have a purpose consistent with GRF goals and are in the best interest of Laguna Woods Village, and whereas the donor has offered to donate a stepladder for the Clubhouse 4 slipcasting studio, and whereas the Recreation and Special Events Department, Director of Financial Services, the Financial Services Director reviewed and affirms that the proposed donation meets the criteria for acceptance contained in the GRF donation policy, that is, A, meet a true need of the facility, B, does not interfere with the intended current or future use of the facility, and C, does not require the relocation of other equipment or infrastructure to accommodate the donation. Now therefore be it resolved October 3rd, 2023, that GRF and donor are in accordance with the described conditions and obligations hereinafter set forth, agree as follows. 1, the donation known as donation of a stepladder for the Clubhouse 4 slipcasting studio described below is donated in its entirety to GRF, hereafter owned by GRF and managed on behalf of the residents of Laguna Woods Village by Village Management Services, Inc., VMS. 2, donation description, stepladder, location, Clubhouse 4 slipcasting studio. Section 3, the amount of the donation item, cost $220, installation cost $0, maintenance cost $0, total estimated donation $220. Section 4, GRF reserves the right to move or remove and or retire the donation following cessation of a 5-year period. The term shall commence upon the date entered into and indicated above. By the way, these are just standard statements, doesn't always apply. Section 5, GRF will not replace the donation or community space improvement if it is stolen, vandalized, worn out, irreparably damaged, destroyed, or expires. Section 6, installation and maintenance. GRF shall be responsible for installation and maintenance of the item, including any reasonable repairs. Section 7, term. The term of this agreement is a minimum of 5 years or beyond, if applicable. And resolved further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized to carry out this resolution as written. I move we accept this donation. Yvonne seconds. Okay.
Ron second, is there any discussion? Are there any objections? So if there's no objections, the donation is approved, and thank you. So the next item is to entertain a motion to remove the drop-in lounge television. And this will go on a 28-day notification for member review. So would you please read the resolution? Thank you.
Resolution 90-23-XX, drop-in lounge television. Whereas the drop-in lounge located at Clubhouse 1 is open 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. and is a gathering area for residents to have a cup of coffee, socialize, work on a jigsaw puzzle, read a magazine, conduct work, and or relax. And whereas altercations and arguments occurred among residents who had conflicting viewing preferences and interests, resulting in security being called to the lounge on several occasions, which hindered the enjoyment and necessitated the removal of the television for safety purposes on Monday, December 17th, 2018. And whereas on March 14th, 2019, the Community Activities Committee passed a motion to reinstall the drop-in lounge television with restricted programming and closed captioning to Village Television, TV6. And whereas since the reinstallation of the television, board members and staff continue to receive complaints regarding access to preferred programming and restriction of use of the remote for control of volume and channels. And whereas staff proposed 3 options for the drop-in lounge television. 1, affixed to the Tuner Classic Movies TCM channel with closed captioning, or 2, marquee displaying upcoming events, classes, and message boards, no volume, or 3, removal of the television. And whereas on September 14th, 2023, the Community Activities Committee reviewed these choices and recommended the removal of the drop-in lounge television. Now therefore be it resolved November 7th, 2023, that the Board of Directors in this corporation hereby adopts removal of the Clubhouse 1 drop-in lounge television, and resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized to carry out this resolution. I move that we accept this resolution for discussion purposes, with a final vote postponed until next month per Civil Code 4360. Yvonne, second.
Okay, are there any discussion? So if there's no discussion, the
objections.
Are there any? Okay, thank you. Are there any objections? If there's no objections, then the motion to remove the drop-in lounge television is approved based upon a 28-day notification of Civil Code, per Civil Code 4360. So thank you. So I think half of the audience has just been waiting for this one. He entertained a motion to approve the extension of pool 5 hours.
Resolution 90-23-XX. Resident request for extension of Pool 5 October operating hours. Whereas on January 4th, 2022, the Golden Rain Foundation of Laguna Woods, GRF Board of Directors, approved Resolution 90-22-04 for pool operating hours and lifeguard services modification to modify pool operating hours and lifeguard services to enhance pool operating efficiencies. And whereas per Resolution 90-22-04, Pool 5 operating hours in October are 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And whereas several residents requesting that GRF extend the hours at Pool 5 daily until 7 p.m. during the month of October. And whereas due to the timing of the request, there is not adequate time for formal review by the Community Activities Committee and Finance Committee, and whereas this request is for the 2023 schedule only, and whereas on September 14th, 2023, the Community Activities Committee reviewed the resident request and recommends board approval of resident request to extend Pool 5 operating hours on October in October 2023 from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Now therefore be it resolved, October 3rd, 2023, that the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby adopts the extension of Pool 5 operating hours in October 2023 from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. and resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized to carry out this resolution. I move that we approve this resolution. And Yvonne seconds.
Are there any discussions? Okay,
The, on the resolution chart, it shows Pool 5 was going to be open till from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m.
That was original. It's 2 years ago.
Excuse me?
It's old.
That's old? So now it's only going to be open till 7?
Sorry, the 9 p.m. are summer hours. They were summer hours, the 9 p.m. We are now in winter.
Well, Pool 4 is still till 10 p.m.
right, but there, I didn't mean to.
I can have Allison come up and answer these questions.
Yes, okay.
Good morning, everybody. Yes, there was a resolution to modify pool hours. So a few years ago, that pool was open later. There was a resolution to cut back on hours at different times of the year to save money with lifeguard fees and pool, just more efficiencies for the pool. So that is why in the winter hours, considered after October or after September, we go back to limiting those hours at Pool 5. And Pool 4 remains open a little bit later.
So Pool 5 is going to open the same time as Pool 4?
Pool 5 will, in October, is supposed to go from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. instead of the summer hours until 9 p.m.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? Okay.
We have 2 in-person comments, and then we have a few emails. So we'll start with the in-person with Julie Bagish.
Yes, I think it's a beautiful day out, and we'd all rather be swimming, actually, or working and then go swimming in the evening, which most of us have to do. And so we're requesting that the pool hours for 5 be extended into November, and there are reasons for this, because people go to work and they have to come to the pool later in the evening, and it will lessen the congestion at Pool 4, therefore making the pool hot tub and showers more sanitary. Especially we're concerned about the health issues of the winter possibility of the COVID thing, and we're concerned about that. So you want to try and spread it out. So there are at least 2 pools where there is more time to swim. And many of us have problems in the sun. A lot of people have had cancer treatments and use cancer medication, and the sun, you're not supposed to sit in the sun. So we have to swim if we're going to. If it's a nice evening, that we should do that. We should be able to do that. And it helps us be healthier, especially now that the pools are open, even after the COVID thing. Pool 4 is out of some people's way and difficult to get to, and the parking lot is very small. According to the lifeguard log, there are many more people in the evening hours than the morning hours. The mornings are pretty empty. I mean, that's a good time to swim if you can do it, but a lot of us can't do it at that time. A suggestion from 6 to 7, if a money concern, this change of hours will benefit the majority of us with no additional expense. We don't quite understand why there's any additional expense, really. Well, the lifeguards, I saw your voice. I don't know. I think it's worthy to look into and worthwhile. And it's much healthier for people who have problems and have to go to the pool and as their only form of exercise. So we'd like to request that and hope that you can hear us and make some changes that are permanent, possibly, permanent as things can be around here. So anyway, we thank you for listening to us, and some almost 30 people came here today who are concerned about this. So thank you very much for your dedication and hard work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Stephen Legler.
Hello, Honorable Board. Stephen Legler, 3019. And when I'm in the country, I'm at Pool 5 just about every night. I run over. I got a demographics background, and I'm starting to learn to speak Korean and Putonghua, Woshishi Putonghua, because I've noticed we have a huge community here of people from Korea, China, Taiwan, and other countries. And the hot tub is really a real social center. It's a big deal, and it's my main social contact in Laguna Woods. That's the main social thing that I do. And the extended hours would be really nice. It's just wonderful to be able to go there later at night, no sun. And that's all I have to say. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. And then I'm going to go ahead and read some of the emails that we have. The first one's from Kian Mujetti. And they said, Dear GRF Board of Directors, thank you for your time considering our request to extend Pool 5 closing time from 6 to 7 p.m. daily. We have listed below some of the reasons for our request. Demographics are changing. Many residents continue to work and are very active in our community. Extending Pool 5 hours to 7 p.m. offers them pool access after a hard day at work. There's a large population of Pool 4 and 5 users who agree on the serious need to extend evening hours at Pool 5. Because of the work schedule and concerns about sun exposure, Clubhouse 4 pool and hot tub become quite congested in the evening hours, especially during the daylight saving time. Last spring, some of the Pool 4 users objecting to the overcrowding at Pool 4 started taking pictures of the congested hot tub, hoping to make a change. Having Pool 5 open later in the evening reduces overcrowding at Pool 4 and improves sanitary conditions at the pool, hot tub, and showers. This is especially concerning during the fall, winter, and spring when flu and COVID cases arise. Clubhouse 5 offers much easier access to approximately 40% of our residents. It takes an additional 25 minutes of driving for these residents to travel back and forth to Pool 4 from their homes. There is a need for balance. Just as you have addressed this issue by having Clubhouse 5 small gym available, having Pool 5 open later in the evenings makes it easier to exercise and swim for a large proportion of our residents. The big expense of the pool is already paid for. It is a better utilization of our existing infrastructure. It is not that expensive, $800 a month, a big impact on the quality of life for minimal expense. Your approval to utilize our existing facilities for improving the wellness of our community is greatly appreciated. The next email is from Mohammed Farhang. I am supporting to extend the hours in Pool 5 from 6 to 7 p.m. Next one's from Vida, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your last name, Afraziabi. I would like to add to my fellow pool goers' request to have the Pool 5 closing time change from 6 to 7 p.m. to come October 1st, 2023. There are several reasons for this. Here are just a few. Residents who still work will have time to enjoy the pool after their tedious workday. It will lessen the congestion at Pool 4, therefore making the pool, hot tub, and showers more sanitary. We are in particular need of this as a priority safety measure with COVID cases rising once again. Many of us do not like to go to the pool while the UV index is high. We want to take care of our health and prefer to head to the pool after sunset to avoid getting skin cancer. And 4, Pool 4 is out of our way and difficult to get to. The parking lot is also smaller than at Pool 5, and it's oftentimes challenging to find a parking space. I appreciate your taking your time to consider our request. From Hossein Afrisiabi, they said, I would like to request that Pool 5 remain open until 7 p.m. beginning October 1st. We find that closing at 6 p.m. is too early for many residents, especially those who are still working. This is where we socialize and do our exercise. It is very important for us to have this time for our everyday well-being. Please take heed of our request. From Nina Lenore, Board members, I am writing in support of keeping Pool 5 open until 7 p.m. through October. In particular, for those who still work, it makes it possible to get in some swimming before closure for those in the Third Mutual area. Thank you for your consideration. from Solomon Mishkian. I am supporting the extension of Pool 5 from 6 to 7 p.m. only for October. Thank you. Fanime Aribi, extending the Pool 5 evening hours to 7 p.m. starting October 1st and throughout the fall and winter pool schedule. From Zara Milton, I definitely support the hours for Clubhouse 5 to be extended since many restaurants like to, I think it's meant to be residents like to use the pool after 5 p.m. From Brenda Fox, this email serves to support the request for the extension of the pool hour at Pool 5. Please consider this for those of us still working with sincere appreciation. Grace Chung, please vote to extend Pool 5 closing hour to 7 p.m. to make the residents make it convenient for residents. Yi Tian, we sincerely hope the extension of Pool 5 evening hours to 7 p.m. starting October 1st, or hope the extension is extended to 7 p.m. Thank you in advance. And I believe this is the final email. Jennifer Momoli, I would like Pool 5 to be open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. I especially like to swim in the evening time. Very few people use the pool at 6 a.m. Thank you for your consideration of this request. And that is all from residents.
Raise up.
Thank you, Madam President. Pool 5, I'm pretty sure that there is, great cases to keep it open later at night. There was a lot of good discussion and a lot of suggestions. That's great. The cost is only $15,000 for a year, right? Increase. So the cost is not that much. A little bit. I just want to know the usage early morning. Have we studied that? 6 a.m. Is that also justified as the later one is justified, or there is a trade-off there? I just want to know about that.
I don't have the exact utilization from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. We plan on monitoring, if we extend the hours to see what that difference is in those hours. But I don't have that specific information from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m.
It's okay if everyone want to stay open till later. Is it if they're not using early in the morning? Right. I don't want to, get shot. So I just want to make sure I just ask a question. And also because we're all about the dollar that we're going to spend. That's about it.
And also, just to clarify, if we extend for the month of October only, it's only $868 of an increase for that additional hour.
Yeah, especially if we go
nominal.
to the winter at 6 a.m. It's pretty cold. Mm-hmm. I don't know how many people are going to be using the pool. But if they are, they are. I'm not concerned about that. Thank you.
Are there any further questions? Further questions or comments? Is there any objection? No objections. We're all for it. So basically, the hours, the motion to approve the extension of the pool 5 hours from 6 to 7 is approved. So thank you. No clapping in the board.
If we go to 8, we get a louder applause.
Okay, so the next item is the discussion of the trust facilities fee. And so I want to make sure that everybody understands that we're not looking to change the amount of the transfer fee, okay? It has been requested by our real estate department that we clarify the trust facility fee resolution and possibly have a question and answer page attached to the resolution and then be placed on the web so that the real estate agents may access this information. So this process would save processing time when closing an escrow. So staff has provided a list of questions that need to be clarified, and I am recommending that the resolution and the questions be forwarded to the GRF attorney that could modify the resolution and create a Q&A for the review and approval. So, can I have a motion? Okay.
So moved.
Are there any questions or comments? Oh, do you want to speak to this? Well, I was just talking about you.
Bobby, just a
okay.
My question is why those were not included in our agenda package.
I'm sorry that they didn't get in there. I apologize.
There's nothing in here on that, so it's just kind of up in the air. I understand what you're saying, but I'd like to see what those questions and answers were, et cetera. I think we should have a chance to review them.
Okay, so we have staff here. Would you like to talk about some of the questions and some of the problems that we need clarification for as far as the trust resolution?
Just a clarification. Madam Chair, just a clarification since I made the motion.
Okay.
The motion was simply to create a questionnaire.
Well, there were some of the questions that were provided by staff, okay,
Okay.
that I think that can be incorporated into the trust resolution.
I see. Well, let me.
Okay.
Don't make a motion.
This item was listed on the agenda as an oral discussion. If we were to make a motion, it would have had to have been listed as entertain a motion to approve.
Right, okay.
So on.
Okay.
All right. Withdraw.
Okay, so I apologize for that. Are there any other questions, though, in regards to the resolution and what we would like to do? Because basically, my intention is to send that resolution and the questions, to the lawyer for review.
There is no resolution yet.
We have a resolution.
For this? For the discussion of the trust facilities fee?
There is a resolution.
To incorporate the questions?
It is not in our packet.
It's just not in the packet, which was a mistake, but we have a resolution in regards to the trust facility fee. We would just modify it.
We were not told to place anything in the packet. We were just told to label this during the agenda prep as an oral discussion item only. So it's
Okay.
only to be discussed.
Okay. Again?
So I guess officially, let me withdraw.
Okay, that's the discussions, but I'm just going to let you know I'm sending it to the lawyer.
Okay, but in discussion, I would just like to make the point that the trust facilities fee is something that is strictly GRF. It's paid for by everybody, as is your GRF dues, et cetera. But there is no difference between United, Third, or Mutual 50 into how it is applied. The Mutual 50 fee, the trust facility fee is a GRF fee, if you will, that applies to everybody who buys a unit.
Right.
Rebuys a unit, changes their unit, et cetera, within. There's been a lot of discussion, well, it's different in Third, it's different in United. It's not.
Okay, I need to clarify that. The trust facility fee, by law, can only be used to upgrade and maintain the GRF properties. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure. But where the money comes from is to offset a lot of the GRF expenses and comes from the sale of either United or Third properties.
Exactly, that's what's
Okay.
kept our GRF dues low for the last few years.
Right.
Let me clarify, reserve expenditures, not expenses.
I wonder if Pam
Reserve,
could help
it's
us.
reserve expenditures that it offsets, not the operating expenses.
Right, you're right.
I would like to add that Pamela is present to answer any questions if you guys have any.
I'd like to hear from Pam as to what specific things you need in the package to explain the fee that'll help the new buyers. And if there are any exceptions to that fee.
Good morning, everyone. The thing that would help us the most is clarification with exception number 5. Recently, it was explained to me that a buyer who had once owned a unit for up to 1 year could buy another unit and have the fee waived. For months, we have operated without that understanding, and we've managed to juggle a purchase and a sale concurrently. Often it was because someone couldn't afford the stepped-up income and asset requirements that a housing mutual had. And we were successful with that. Now we are getting, now I believe your resolution says a current member who purchases another unit can have the fee waived. And that's why we have been operating the way we have. Now, people are coming forward. I sold a home in May, and I paid the GRF fee for that. I bought one in September. I paid the fee again. I want it waived. The amount of paperwork from my office to go research the fact that they did pay it, they paid it a second time, get it up to finance, they have to now make the refund. So revenues that you believe you have collected may not be what you're going to collect. So it would be helpful, either strike the phrase that says current member. I think that will have an adverse impact on your revenue, but just saying. That's the biggest issue we have right now.
Well, one of the issues that Pam had addressed, that we just addressed just recently, is the way that the resolution is written, and basically that they have to close an escrow before they can, when they buy the next property. Mm-hmm. And so when they close an escrow, that means that they're not a member anymore. So it creates a legal issue as to whether they would get that transfer fee waived. So those are just, some minor corrections to be able to make the process just a little bit easier for staff. Yeah.
Okay, so my question is, who now needs to take this forward and make the corrections and get it straight for Pam?
Pardon?
What committee is responsible now to get this straightened out?
The GRF board, and Pam provided this information to me. Pamela did the questions. And because it is a legal document, I feel that it's very important that we make sure that we're within the law. And that's why I was suggesting that our lawyer would be able to write the resolution as it should.
Right, and it was my understanding that originally it was, if you owned a unit and you bought another one, you didn't have to pay the $7,500 or the fee. That was what was there originally. Is that correct?
It may be. I don't have the older iteration in mind. I just know that the current resolution says a current member. And we have been able to make that happen for dozens of sales. But if you sell a unit and then 6 months later, 8 months later say, gee, I paid twice, I want a refund, that is not streamlining your processes. And it's not earning you the revenue that you anticipated.
Madam Chair, may I make a suggestion that we ask staff to draft the language that they think is appropriate to solve the problem, and then as a board review that language, make sure that it also does what we want it to do for our members, and then take it forward.
I did receive the information from Pam as to the questions that they have and how it impacts impacts the resolution. So, okay.
Okay, so maybe, since we don't have a draft of that resolution, maybe we should table this,
Don't table it, postpone it.
postpone it? Okay, good, proper language.
Okay, all right.
It's, you know, I don't think we're informed enough to make a decision.
We're not supposed to make a decision. The only decision we're supposed to be making is this, that I mentioned, is that I wanted to present it to our lawyer to write the resolution to incorporate the questions, and then it would come back to the board for review. But I felt that legal needed to weigh in on it.
Then I would make a motion that we postpone this item until we get the information back from our attorney.
I second it.
Okay, that's a good idea. Okay.
I just need to understand the issue correctly, because I think we don't understand, or at least I don't understand what you're looking for, huh? I know, but I'm gonna ask that so I get the, you know, understanding of what is your dilemma. You have the issue when someone sells their unit, and after 3 months or 5 months, they buy another unit, they don't want to pay the fee. Is that the issue? That I understand it correctly?
Correct.
Okay. So you're looking for a grace period, saying if somebody sells the unit, there is a 3 months or 6 months or a year grace period before you can buy one and not pay the fee. You're looking for that language in there. Is that it, or anything else is there?
That would be helpful to have
Okay.
whatever grace
Now I
period.
understand what you're looking for. Thank you.
I think what further complicates the matter is the closing, and are you a member after, there's a lot of complications associated with that, but you're essentially correct.
Right.
That's why we want to take it off the table and discuss it later so we can get into the details.
Okay.
I think now I understand what you're looking for, and it's a definition of member that is confused after you sell your house, you sell, you know, you're a member or not, and then that definition need to be there also grace period after you sell your unit, how much time you have. It's just like, you know, the tax that you do on your property when you sell it. You have 3 months to buy another unit, or you have to pay your tax. That's something of that nature. That's, I think, make it easier to.
There's a motion on the table.
Elsie has a question.
Okay, Elsie?
I had understood that, and I thought the original language was every house that gets sold. And, or no, I shouldn't say every house, but you know what I mean. Every unit that's sold is subject to that $7,500 fee. And I know other condominiums use it. A lot of places have that, and it's a much larger fee than ours is. And I just don't want to, I know personally of at least, well, 2 people, but that's people that I know personally, that basically make their living moving into a house, staying there for 2 years, outfitting it, then buying another, and of course they sell it at a profit and then buy another unit and start the process all over again. Well, I don't know why we should facilitate basically an elaborate flipper system. If you want to fix it up, fine. You know, if you want to, or well, I shouldn't say fix it up, but if you want to redo it, fine. But or just take advantage of a rising market, fine. But I don't. I have a problem with just putting $7,500 more into flippers' pockets. Sorry, I'm off this board pretty soon, but that's what I think about flippers. I don't like financing them. Thank you.
Okay, but Elsie, that's one of the reasons why they put in that 2-year period, you know, that they have to live there at least 2 years. Because
that also has-
usually
that also has-
flippers are within a short period of time.
Well, that I said essentially flippers, okay, elaborate flippers, but that in fact I know 3 personally. And I'm not saying it's not legal, but that 2-year limit has more to do with the Internal Revenue laws, I think, than it does with ours, or at least ours may be based on that. But the IRS has the 2-year limit as well. So you can sell your house at a gain with without paying any tax on it if it's under a $500,000 gain. Anyway, I'm just throwing it in because I couldn't not. Thank you.
Thank you. And Joan, you had a comment?
Yeah, we have a motion on the table to postpone the information until we get back the information from the attorney.
Is there a second?
And Juanita's moved it, and I seconded it. So we have a motion to vote on.
Okay. Are there any more comments? So if there's no objections, we will postpone the motion until it's reviewed by the attorney. Thank you. Okay, where are we at here? 5-minute break. Does anyone want to take a 5-minute break before we go on? Okay, I've got some nodded heads here. Okay.
You know, Bunny, I always say yes.
Yeah. Are you going to take a break too, Debbie?
I am.
Dad, I went out to get in the faces of those women that were jabbering all the time in the back. You know, it was very distracting for me because I've got really good hearing.
be out of here by 1, so. Okay, I'd like to resume the meeting. So the next item on the agenda is the committee reports. And Jim?
Well, I see
You're up.
the gallery has cleared.
Well, we can get through this quickly.
Did I say something wrong or what? Maybe it's too much good news that I have for everybody.
Hurry up, I'm hungry.
I'm sorry. Okay, thanks, folks. Yeah, they're not interested in good news. The first chart shows shows all GRF revenues, and that's including those restricted for reserves, such as the transfer facilities fee and the GRF reserve portion of the HOA fees. It also includes the reserve investment income, which is also restricted. Through the reporting period through August 31st, 2023, GRF had a net revenue of $2,963,000 with a total revenue of $33,369,000 and a total expense of $30,406,000. GRF was better than budget by $1,429,000 with a total expense coming in better than budget by $1,717,000. Primarily due to open positions throughout the organization. This was partially offset by total revenues coming in at less than $288,000 worse than budget due to a lower trust facilities fee revenue as a result of fewer sales. Slide 2, please. The next chart displays the operating fund. It excludes the non-operating revenues mentioned above, and also expenses and depreciation, which and reflects the basis of our fund assessment. This report shows a favorable variance of $1,113,000 through the reporting period, with expenses better than budget by $1,501,000. That's offset by revenue worse than budget by $388,000. Next chart, please. This slide reflects the current market value of the GRF Reserve Investment Portfolio compared to the 2019 valuation. The current market value of the GRF portfolio is $18,929,000 as of August 31st, 2023. And that's compared to the value at December 2019 of $19,031,000. Year to date, the market value increased by $720,000 or 4%, and decreased and is less than $102,000 less than the inception. The August market value increased by $85,000. Slide 4, please. Of the $18,929,000 portfolio value mentioned in slide 3, $18,666,000 is held with our reserve portfolio value. In addition to discretionary investments, the reserve fund assets include non-discretionary investments of $12,926,000. Payables and other obligations total $728,000, resulting in a net reserve of $32,705,000. Now back to the operating fund, which I mentioned has a more significant impact on the HOA assessments. This slide shows that our most significant operating invariances are shown with the green bars representing favorable variances, and the orange bars represent unfavorable variances. Overall, we had favorable variances in employee compensation and related, and that was $1,247,000. And that's primarily due to the above-mentioned vacancies in general services, for janitorial, bus driver positions, security positions, and gate ambassador positions, and various other open positions throughout the organization. Recruitment to fill these open positions is a continuing challenge and process. Materials and supplies show a positive variance of $227,000, and that's primarily due to the overestimation of 2022 expenditures for inventory items at the warehouse. The favorable variance in inventory is slightly offset by unbudgeted purchase of pool supplies. And other operating expenses has a positive variance of $190,000, resulting from the timing of expenses for support, or staff support, which a large portion occurs at year end. Now, looking at the unfavorable variances, broadband services are unfavorable by $246,000, and that's due to the advertising revenue received in September, which was budgeted evenly throughout the year. In addition, advertising revenues in media services has dropped as clients move their advertising dollars to other digital platforms. Outside services also shows a negative variance of $232,000, and it's due primarily to the lack of anticipated credit card transaction fees recovery in the golf facilities and in the Performing Arts Center. Fees were anticipated to be passed on to customers at the time of the budget was created, and they weren't. However, these transactions were not conducted via ActiveNet, which is designed to recover those transaction fees. In addition, the aquatics budget was based on a reduction of one lifeguard at the lap pool, and which was not approved. And lastly, the other unfavorable variance was $208,000 in utilities and telephone, and that's due to the rising electricity rates and high natural gas cost, and that's in all departments. And it spiked during the first quarter. There was a slight offset due to lower water expenses as a result of 164% more rainfall than in recent years. Slide 6, please. Thank you. This slide shows our sources of revenue other than assessments, such as fees and rentals. To date, we have received just over $6,493,000 of non-assessment operating revenue. By category, we can see that our largest revenue is broadband services, followed by golf revenue, clubhouse rentals, event fees, and merchandise sales. Other revenue includes class fees, additional occupancy fees, RV storage fees, equestrian center fees, and among others, and that amounts to 14%. These revenues offset costs and help keep our assessments down. Number 7, please. This chart shows, as usual, our largest operating expense is compensation, and that's followed by cable and programming fees. Of the $27.2 million, excluding depreciation, these two categories account for 71% of our total operating expense. Insurance, professional, and legal utilities and fuel, outside services, etc., make up the remaining 29%. If you consider that cable and programming are offset by broadband revenue, compensation accounts for 67% of the net expense, while insurance, utilities, and outside services account for the 33% of the net operating expense. Next, please. This shows our reserve and restricted funds in the adjusted balances. Reserve funds have a combined ending balance of $40.2 million. The contingency fund has a balance of $4 million. Included in this total are contributions received this year through assessments, the trust fund fees, and investment earnings. The second column shows the work in process of $7.5 million for the reserve and $43,000 for the restricted fund. and this reflects the amounts paid for projects not yet completed. The third column represents the resulting adjusted fund balance of $32.7 million and a $4 million balance for the restricted fund. Number 9, please. This slide shows the resale history from 2021 to 2023. Community-wide sales of 506 units are 24% below 2021 and 2022 through the August 31 period. As stated before, this has a negative impact on reserve income this year. However, our reserve balance remains strong. Number 10, please. The listing here shows, on this slide, gives you an idea of where the reserve money is committed. Of the $20.3 million appropriated by the board for various projects and equipment purchases, the remaining encumbrances against our reserve is $11.9 million, and that's primarily for the purchase and replacement of equipment throughout the facilities. Restricted funds have a total appropriations of $98,000, and there are no remaining encumbrances. Thank you. Slide 11. Now, when we compare our adjusted fund balances to the historical balances for the past 5 years, on this chart, we show that GRF has an average of $27 million in reserves and $2.3 million in the contingency. It also shows that since 2019, our reserve has been consistently increasing, as well as we get ready for perhaps some expenditures in the future. And last but not least, and this will hopefully be the next to the last time I will be showing this particular chart. But since we had gotten into the investment discussion, and we go back to 2019 when we had an original balance of 2019, and just to refresh everybody's memory, we had the quickest and the largest increase in the interest rate in the history of the country. As a result of that, we were invested in bond funds, which, by the way, the principal was never at stake. However, bond funds have a market value. That market value, when in a high interest rate or when interest rates change quickly, the bond funds are very, very slow to react. That left us in a position where the market value of those funds went down. So what you're seeing there is the market value go down over the period of 2019 through 2022. And so now we stand at $19,014,000. That's an increase of $805,000 this year in the first quarter. Now, if you look at the bottom piece of that, in October 2022, we were encouraged forcefully to dump our fund. Instead, we decided to selectively sell the fund, where we would be getting a higher value as the market started to return. So what the market did was between October and March 2023, the market gave us a $679,000 increase from October 2022. Okay? The year-to-date was $250,000. At that point, we decided to selectively sell our portfolio, our bond fund portfolio, and go into treasuries. And so the combination of those two things this year through September 30th has put us in a position being at $19,014,000. Since October, that's a $1,234,000 increase in our portfolio value. Year to date is $805,000. There's been discussions out there, and I'm not sure exactly where it comes from, that we had lost $2 million on our portfolio. That is absolutely false. I can say that with, and so you see that we've actually returned to that parity of 2019, and it's been a rough patch. But I think we made the right decisions at the right time, given where we were. And so the estimate is that by the next week sometime, we'll be back to parity with 2019. And that ends my presentation.
Thank you. I'm really excited that we've been able to come back, to where we were in 2019. I actually think that was, that Jim, I want to thank you because you've been the lead as far as the direction, as far as our investments. And I have to say to you that it has proven to be the best solutions, and it has proven to be the best solution for GRF. So thank you.
Thank
So
you. Madam President, if I can just say that, we took the advice of Sageview.
Right.
Okay, we asked them what should we be doing given the situation, and we spent a lot of time with Sageview, and they were instrumental in giving us the correct advice and handling the transactions.
Thank you. So the next report is Director Horton.
Oh, thank you, Madam President. In the interest of time, I'd like to thank the Recreation Department for all the successful events that they've had in the past month. Also, I'd like to thank the generous donations at the Equestrian Center that has allowed us to retire Belle, the horse, to Hoofs and Woofs Rescue. And a friendly reminder to all the walkers around the golf course, please use the perimeter path. That's come to my attention. Our next meeting is going to be October 12th at 1:30 here in the boardroom. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So the next is the Landscape Committee from Juanita.
Thank you, Madam President. We did not meet in September. Our last meeting was August 9th, and I reported on that meeting at our September board meeting. So I would just like to say that our next meeting is going to be November 8th here in the boardroom at 1:30. And if any resident has any issue that they want to bring before the board, please let me know in advance. We can put it on the agenda so that we have to run the research, we can answer your questions. People who come up in member comments and throw things at us and expect an answer that day are often disappointed because sometimes we have to go back and look at things, and this goes with any committee. If you have something that you're interested in the committee discussing, let them know in advance so we can put it on the agenda.
Okay. Reza, the next one is maintenance and construction.
Thank you, Madam President. The committee met on August 9, and the result of that was reported in the previous board meeting. Our next meeting is October 11 at 9:30 in the boardroom. Thank you.
And what's the subject going to be on October 11th?
There's just review of the project log mainly.
But it won't be bringing up Clubhouse One?
No.
Oh,
No,
okay,
I'm
and that
not
will be a
ready.
special meeting?
That should be a special meeting,
Okay.
which as soon as I get enough information from staff, I will share it with you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Really excited to hear about that one.
So do I.
Okay. All right. So the next item is the report of clubhouse renovation. And that would be Egon?
There's been no meeting since March 26th. I understand that now Guy has the numbers back on the bids, and we're going to plan to have a meeting sometime this month so we can discuss them and discuss how to go forward from here, because we're really way behind. Thank you.
Okay. So the next is report of media and communications. Joan?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Media and Communications met Monday, September 18th, as our last meeting. And it's a kind of meeting of transition. So first of all, Elise Rothrock reported on the latest issue of the Breeze and read through the highlights from Media Communications Activities Report. And then she gave a short report on the website ad hoc committee. She updated the committee on the contract with Urban Insight and stated that Information Services Director Chuck Holland will be in charge of the project, while she and Susan McCracken will handle the day-to-day updating of the website. Next thing, Paul Ortiz reported on the last broadband ad hoc committee meeting and announced that the new broadband ad hoc committee chair will be Martin Rosa, and updated the committee on the contract with the broadband group. And then he reported on broadband services and highlighted that how the subscriber counts are faring. Village Television's YouTube channel subscriber counts continue to increase. The use of set-top boxes is still trending downward. The pay services also continue to decrease. The higher speeds in the internet subscriptions are increasing while the lowest speed is decreasing. He brought up a couple other, we voted on one thing, and which will come up today in our closed session, and that is to include a couple of new stations at no cost to us. One called NewsNet and the other called Sports News. They're like the old highlights from news, and it's all the highlights of the current news and the current sports news, and that'll begin November 1st, provided it's approved by us, which I think it will be. Mr. Ortiz also presented another way that residents can save money by beginning to purchase streaming apps rather than paying the retail rate that we contractually offer to the community. And you'll hear more about that in the near future. Our next meeting will be Monday, November 20th at 1:30 p.m., and that's the end of my report.
So there's only one thing that confuses me, and that is because we have the split, basically. And so some of these programs are coming up as when they will no longer be available, but yet we have to transfer.
Right, and we're going to begin to show people how to do that.
Okay.
With smart TV, and you'll have quite a list. So it's not happening today, but it will be in the process. And some people have already done it, started to stream. But that's kind of the next beginning steps towards internet.
And Media and Communications is going to be working on that?
We'll be putting out the publicity for that, yes.
Okay.
But broadband is working on the broadband ad hoc committee is still working on getting the providers and so on to get that done.
Right, so
I know it's confusing, but it's just the transition.
It is confusing, and I think everybody, that's listening to us needs to know what we're going to do and how we're going to, educate and let people know when the changes are. So the next one is the broadband ad hoc, and Martin? Oops.
Instead of Director Haddington.
Right.
The broadband ad hoc committee, we met on September 18th, as well as this, what's not on here, is September 26th we met. And we're planning on meeting again tomorrow, October 4th, as well as October 16th. We're really blitzing. I know it's a closed committee, but I'm really excited about the progress we're making and getting good value with our partners, and we're just moving ahead, steamrolling. And so we're just going to continue that. We've got Mr. John Carroll now is going to be an advisor. Cornell, excuse me, is going to be an advisor, and so I'm happy that of the movement that we're making. Thank you.
All right, thank you. The next is mobile and vehicles, and that's Elsie.
Yes, although I really, really, really wanted to give the report on the broadband ad hoc, but Martin just is so pushy.
I don't blame you.
Anyway, the mobility and vehicles, and I'm also not Director Skillman. I know that got really messed up because I was sick and, but anyway,
All right.
there was, the last time we met was August the 2nd. And at that time, we voted to change the scheduling for the mobility and vehicles meeting to quarterly. So the next meeting will be on November the 6th at 1:30 p.m. in the boardroom, and I will be there. Just for those of you that want to show up and wish me happy highball engineers, for those of you from California. And that's it. That's my report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. The next report is security and communications. Juanita.
How about community access?
Pardon?
Not communications, but community access.
Well, but your security.
Yeah, right. Now, the Security Committee met on August 23rd. I reported on that meeting at our October meeting. Our next meeting coming up is going to be on October 25th at 1:30 here in the boardroom. We're going to be looking at rules and regulations for all registered vehicles. We're having some questions these days about bikes, particularly electric bikes. This also came up in the traffic hearings. Traffic rules pertain to all vehicles, including bicycles, motorcycles, and electric bikes. So just because you're on an electric bike does not mean that you do not have to stop at a stop sign. And we're going to be reviewing if we have to put language into the traffic rules that specifically calls out electric bikes are new. Also, at that meeting, we're going to be discussing the access of non-residents to community events. And if you have an interest in that, please come to the meeting. If there's anything else that you would like to put on the agenda, please let me know beforehand so that we have to have it by next week so that we can put it on the agenda for the meeting on October 25th. That's my report.
Okay, thank you. So next would be the traffic hearings. And that's still you, isn't it, Elsie?
Well,
or is it Yvonne?
No.
I attended the traffic hearings in Elsie's stead this time.
Oh, okay.
So
All right.
I can just say that we almost didn't have a meeting. There's only 5 people on the traffic hearings, and we only had 3 who showed up, which is barely a quorum. We always have staff, and they go to a lot of trouble, and we had our videos and all of this, and when our committee members from particularly the mutuals don't show up, by the way, Mutual 50 Stowers is always there, it really makes it very difficult for us. So again, if you're on a committee, that's your commitment. If you are not going to be there, you need to let people know. And if you don't want to be on that committee and you're just not going to show up, you need to let your president know so that they can put somebody else on that committee who's going to participate. So I can't, since it's confidential, I can't talk about what we did, except that there was a problem with bicycles. And that's it.
Okay. The next one is compliance ad hoc, and that's me, and we will have a meeting October 5th, and we will have a staff give a presentation based upon increasing the additional occupancy fee. And when that task is complete, we will probably dissolve that committee. So the next one is executive member hearings committee. Is Elsie going to report on that?
Steve, everybody's going to keep one for myself.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, I will. There I am. Okay, the committee met on September the 7th, and the next meeting will be October the 1st. The cases we hear are confidential. However, this last time, we looked at delinquencies like we do every month, like what to do about people who are really behind. Well, everybody knows what delinquencies are. They owe us money. And also, we looked at a suspension violation. Someone had been suspended from their presence at GRF facilities for a period of 90 days and didn't seem to understand it when we said 90 days and suspend. So we also discussed that. The person did not show up incidentally for his hearing. And we don't have it's like traffic. We don't have these hearings in a vacuum. People request them. In 99% of the cases, there are a few mandatory things that we have hearings for, depending on the egregiousness of the violation. If it involves violence or racism or something like that, those are mandatory hearings. But 90%, more than 90% of our hearings are people asking to be heard. So again, we set up, we have staff there, we're ready to go. We got everything printed out, all those trees killed, and they don't show up. So that's what happened on the September the 7th meeting. And the next one will be just in a couple days on October 5th. That's it. Thanks.
All right, thank you. So the next one is disaster preparedness, and that's Juanita.
Thank you. The Disaster Preparedness Task Force met on September 26th. One of the main things that we talked about, and I have given everybody the flyer, and I had some out here for our audience as well, is the Great California Shakeout. We do this once a year in October, and this year the Shakeout is October 19th, and it takes place at 10:19 a.m. Now, we don't have a whistle, some sort of noise, something that goes off that tells people that there is an emergency. But we have the red alert, we have television. All of these things are going to be stopped at that time and say, hey, if there was an emergency, this is how we would get in touch with you. So we just ask people to take a minute once a year and think about, if there was an emergency, what would I do? How do I react? What would I do? And these flyers are going to be available. We'll put some more out at the reception desk as well if you want to look at them. And it talks about statewide and then certainly what we do here in the community. So that's my report on disaster preparedness.
Okay, and ITAC, Jim.
The ITAC committee met on September 28th, and we updated ourselves on where we stood. We're still going to go live on a first phase on February 1st. We're a little bit behind in terms of the budget, primarily because we moved some items from stage 2 into stage 1, and one of the critical things that we're having difficulty doing is the budget allocations, which are very, very complicated, I understand, and so we're going to put some special attention to that. But that has caused most of the delay. We've moved that into phase 2. We're certain we're going to resolve that problem, but it's necessary to put that in phase 2. So we're basically on our amended schedule, and we're going to meet that.
Thank you. So the Purchasing Ad Hoc Committee, we have the task right now to update the purchasing policy. We have a final revision that's going to be reviewed on, I think it's October 4th. And then after that, we will have an all boards meeting and to get the policy approved by Third United and GRF. And that is scheduled for October 23rd at 9:30. Okay. Future agenda items. Is there anything that we want to add to future agenda items? Okay, Jim?
Yeah, I would add the fee scheduling.
Oh,
to
yes,
the
that
agenda.
should be added on
Yeah.
there.
All fees, not just room fees, all fees.
Okay. Okay. Any other items that need to be added? No? Okay, so the next would be director comments. So we can, okay.
Yeah, just one comment. I was just, as I looked at all of the committees we have and all the other things, that it's such a wide span of control, or wide span of responsibility, I should say.
Right.
That GRF has, and it's amazing that that this group is able to accomplish and lead. But we got some big projects coming up, and we need a lot of attention to it. The room fees is one, broadband, space planning, ITAC, the website. These are all foundational things that will basically set a stage for our future. And I think we just need to pay a lot of attention to them with understanding that there's going to be some investment involved in making this the right place for those of us in the future. So, just...
Okay.
Also, on the future agenda items, we postponed the trust facilities fee discussion. Hopefully that might be ready.
Okay.
So let's put that on future agenda.
But say.
We don't want it
trust
to get lost. If
facility
it's not this
fee
time,
resolution.
it'll go
Yeah, I don't want anybody to think.
on
we're
to the
crazy.
next.
Yeah. I don't want to scare anybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there is no, we need to put the memorial plaques on there too. Remember, we've had some people requesting that.
Right, and yes,
We don't have a,
we need to put that in there. I thought, maybe Joan can speak to it, I thought that GRF in the past had a policy based upon where we would put any kinds of plaques.
well,
But
I had recreation check on it, they couldn't find one.
there's nothing?
Yeah.
Okay, so then what we need to do is to create a policy, because it wouldn't be just memorial plaques, it would be award plaques and.
Everything, I know,
Yeah,
I just,
yeah.
the person that made the request was asking for a couple of memorial plaques.
Right.
So that's why I'm bringing it to your attention.
Right. I think we have to have an advisory committee on that. Okay, anything else? Any other comments?
Yeah.
Oh, Debbie's got her hand up, okay.
Yeah, I know you all are anxious to get to your break, but I just want to tell everybody, because this could potentially be my last time on meeting, because I don't know if I have to work next month, when you say goodbye to me anyway. But I want to just tell everybody that I have enjoyed getting to know all of you and have appreciated all the hard work and effort that each and every one of us has brought to this board. I don't think all the people out there in TV land understand the amount of work and effort that goes into every decision that has to be made for a community this size. And that each of you works so hard to make this place better and to make the right decisions for the whole group that live here. So In the event that I don't get to openly thank everyone again, I'm doing it now. And that was my comments for today.
Thank you, Debbie. I can tell you, we will really miss you. I will miss you especially. So, anyway, are there any more comments? And there's Elsie, okay.
Well, first of all, I know, Bunny, that you're gonna miss me more than you're gonna miss Debbie.
I'm gonna miss you both.
I know, I'm just teasing. I fully expect to be at the meeting in November, like Debbie, but you never know. So it's been fun working with you guys. Board work took on a whole different dimension when I came to GRF, that's for sure. So, and everybody does work really hard. Even people I don't necessarily, agree with all the time, they done their homework. That is so refreshing. And thank you for all the opportunities. And I also want to thank the residents out there. Some lady just came up to me the other day, a resident, and she said, "Oh, that was a really nice presentation you gave the other day on television." I had no idea what she was talking about, but I thanked her from the bottom of my heart. That was really sweet. And every once in a while you get recognized, and not always for good reasons, but it's nice to know that some residents out there are listening and appreciate what we do. But so thank you for the residents, because without the residents, you wouldn't need a board and we couldn't be making all this money. So I really
If only we
appreciate.
got a piece.
Please
I
qualify
appreciate the
that.
whole.
Yeah, qualify that.
Why? I like to start rumors. So I'm not going to be here more than a month more. No, I'm teasing. Of course we don't get paid. So thanks everybody.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else? I just, Martin?
Just salutations to those that are leaving the board. It's been an honor to get to know each and every one of you, and I appreciated everyone's help and I admire what services and talents that you bring to the community, and thank you.
I think we have a great board. And
remember, Martin, I know where you live, okay? So
Really?
I keep an eye on you.
So we're hoping to see you, next month, but I know Elsie's going to be on vacation and maybe Debbie, will be working, but I have to tell you that I've enjoyed working with everybody. I just think we have a great board, and I've always thought we had a great board. And we pay attention, we have fun, but we also pay attention to business and the intentions that each one of us have is to do what's best for this community. We all love the community and we want everybody to be able to enjoy it. So thank you. Yes. And so now, do you want to, you're waving your hand because you're saying goodbye, or did you want to talk again?
No, I thought you were going to say when the closed meeting was going to start.
Yes, well, that's just what I was going to say. We were going to recess and go to the closed meeting. And the closed meeting will start by 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
Yes.
Okay, and also, don't throw away my name tag yet, Benny. I'll be at the next meeting, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want to miss the free lunch.
And Elsie's going to remain our correspondent, for us. She will be writing our newsletters. So that's a big help, Elsie.
And I am still on TV with my show. My show's not leaving. My show's not going.
And you're still an ITAC advisor.
And a broadband ad hoc advisor.
Yes.
I got it.
All right. Goodbye, guys.
See you at 1.